Hey, what's up, you guys? Yes, welcome back to the A Cup of Soda podcast. Um, it's been a minute since you guys last saw me. Um, to give you a little rundown, my computer had a little crack on it, and the crack got bigger, and so I had to take it to New York to get it fixed. Thank God I had Apple Care, cause it was only $100 to get the whole screen replaced. And not because without it, it would be like $800 to get the screen replaced if I didn't have Apple Care. So if you have an Apple product, please get Apple Care because anything can happen. I didn't think something would happen to this, but it did. So, um, yeah. So that's basically why I couldn't do the podcast. Well, I could have done the podcast and just wait to upload it and edit it, but I was like, no, I want my computer. I'm gonna take a little break, and that's what I did. I just took a break. So much has happened. Well, I don't know if so much has happened, but a lot for me in my like mental state, and also just the changes in my life are like, right now, like, I don't know if how should I start that, because today's episode is going to be about um politics, kind of. Not really. I'm gonna explain in a minute, but I first want to get my life stuff first. So please stick around for the politics stuff if you guys are just wanting to know what my politic thingies. Okay. Probably not the best way to start that, but anyways. So for some of you guys, I actually started tattooing. Now I know this is random. Like, what the fuck? Yes. I have a at home tattoo kit. I haven't tattooed anything, not anybody. Right now I'm just practicing. Uh, some of you guys know I'm an artist, and so I'm trying to learn how to tattoo. And trying to get like the feel and the movement and how like deep you're supposed to go and how much ink is supposed to stay. Cause I always see people who do at-home tattoos and they look so splotchy, uneven, all that jazz. I was like, I know that what you're not supposed to do, so I'm gonna try to learn how to actually tattoo because I do want to get my own tattoos. I would love to make my own ones. Obviously, I would like to stick with the simple ones, things that aren't super complicated to make. And anyways, a lot of my art is already like all the tattoos I already have on me are mainly line art type tattoos where there's not really any shading. So um, they would blend in with the rest of my tattoos. And also, I want to fix this one part of my tattoo that's faded since like 3 years ago. It's faded so badly. Nothing I did. It's mainly because my skin rejected it. So I really need to redo it. And it's a simple flower, so I think I could retrace it and get it darker. So we'll see. Anyways, I'm doing tattooing. Um, my friend and we are doing present exchanges. It's so cute. Like, I'll talk about it another time, but this is probably the first time like I really like did a present exchange because I got her something and she got me something, and I'm not gonna say what I got yet because I want to make the whole thing later. Anyways, so that's happened. Other things that are a little bit more personal, that I may or may not talk about. Maybe I'll talk about it in another time, but I don't want to talk about it now. I'm also making new friends and also just rekindling some old friendships, and I'm feeling so much better about things in my life, and I'm really starting to see the rainbow after the storm kind of thing. And I'm actually starting to push myself out of my comfort zone, and also I'm getting more clients for my dog walking business that I'm starting my own dog walking business. So that's a little exciting because it's like I'm gonna be doing this all on my own, which is a little scary too because I'm like and just all that stuff. So I'll talk about it another time when things are going more into it. So, but I just want to say that like some of these stuff is happening, and this all happened in like a week and a half. Like all this new stuff is happening in a week and a half. So things are happening fast. Anyways, Um, Today's episode. How long has I been talking? I've been talking for 6 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys are probably annoyed at me, but this is a podcast. You ramble. All right. I'm a little nervous to talk about it. All right. So today's episode is about, was I Republican or something like that? I don't know. All right. I should have made bullet points, but whatever. I kind of just did this podcast in a whim because I really just miss talking to you guys. So I guess I would explain how I was like a Republican-ish. All right. Um, my views have not changed. Actually, I don't think my views have really changed. Um, on things, which is surprising because a lot of Republicans will be like, "Oh, you're a left-wing person," because I want like equal rights and I want people to have freedom to express themselves, freedom of speech, freedom of everything, right? I believe in that stuff. And, I believe in pro-choice, feminism, all that stuff. But I already believed in that stuff when I was viewing the Republican side. So, what is it? So, the reason why I say I was Republican, quote unquote, was because I was looking at the Republicans make fun of the left. I was seeing the extreme side of the left. And I was like learning politics. Like I was like 16, so no, I was like 15, 16, learning about politics because I didn't know about politics. I didn't care too much about politics because I was like, well, I was in special ed in middle school. I was like deprived of everything, so I didn't know anything from school. So, anyways, um, coming in, I was on YouTube. A lot of the YouTubers I followed were Republican leaning. Which was like Blair White, and also I forgot her name. She's a lesbian. A lot of people know her. I think her name starts with an A, I think. But it's funny because a lot of the right wings were mainly LGBT, but also there was this one guy that was, his channel was like no bullshit or some shit like that, and he always made fun of SJWs, social justice warriors, and he also just like some of the stuff I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous. And so I was thinking that the right was just more logic based because it is true that some people follow too much of their emotions and aren't really thinking of the bigger picture because a lot of the time they are acting a bit selfish. But they were just showing the most extreme left people. So I thought that's all they were, like the ones who were like, triggered, and the ones who got mad at everything, and the crazy like men are pigs, blah, blah, blah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought the whole thing was, and that's because that's what the right was showing. So it's like propaganda that we're showing the only extremes and showing that's what all left is, and that's what all left people believe. And so I was like, I don't think like that. Hell no, they're a little too dramatic. So that's why I was like, because especially the LGBT ones, they were very like logic based and also very like sympathetic, and that's all I really care about is just sympathy and empathy, caring about more than just yourself. Like, I'm a person who cares about everybody, and sometimes it backfires on me because I care too much about people and no one cares about me. And so, but the point is, I was seeing that they were like, yeah, see these extremes. I understand where some of these extremes are coming from. And, but, and this, I need to call out the LGBT. Well, I need to call out some of the LGBT, not the whole LGBT. I'm part of that. Anyways, I need to call out the people who use the LGBT as like their entire personality and then also force people to do certain things like the whole trans-abled and things like that. I don't like there's like a like it's a real thing, but not to the extent that TikTok is making it. Because there are people who have this disorder, like mental disorder, where they believe they're not supposed to have a certain limb, but that's like 0.000000001% that has that condition. But on TikTok, you start seeing a lot of these people, and that's just not realistic, because like these disorders aren't as common. And then people also faking having like DID, dissociative identity disorder, and having like the double multiple personalities and doing all this stuff, and it's like, and they can switch like on a whim. That is, that's not good. And they like to label themselves in the LGBT, and a lot of them want suppression points. Is it oppression or suppression? No, it's oppression points. Like people, like there's an extent to oppression, but not every little thing that's out of the ordinary is oppression, okay? And that's the thing about the like social justice warriors, that's like everything is like oppressive. And I'm not like that. I'm not a person who believes in that like victim mentality that a lot of these people are. And the funny thing is that, I'm sorry, like maybe this is just me and what I'm seeing on TikTok, but a lot of these people who are like overly dramatic and like victim whatever, they're normally white people. Is that just me? I don't know if that's racist to say, but the majority of these people who like do all this like babies are transphobic or baby or like whatever, they're usually white, sometimes white females. I don't know what it is, but it's like they want to feel special. And I feel like it goes beyond the LGBT. I feel like it's more of a personal thing where they just want to feel like they belong in something that isn't normal, I guess, quote unquote normal, like what is normal, whatever. But I feel like it's a lot. I don't know if any of this is making sense. I'm like talking, I'm like, wait, did anything I say make sense? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I hope someone's understanding what I'm trying to say. Basically, usually it's like white people want to feel like they're part of the oppression in some shape or form. And it makes everybody else look bad. And I'm like, we're not all like that. We're not all saying you're this, you're that, unless you are. And that's the thing with me. I'm not gonna say because you made an LGBT joke that I'm gonna be like, oh, you're homophobic, or oh, you're transphobic, or no. And a lot of trans people will laugh at it too. Like, I love seeing when trans people make fun of themselves. I love when gay people make fun of themselves. I love when we just make fun of ourselves. And some people can make fun of us too. But there's a difference between just a joke and just being a complete asshole. Like, we can tell the difference, and you can't just hide behind a joke. Like, there's a difference. And it's just, and so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was just seeing that as the only seeing the LGBT, the only thing the left is doing, and so it turned me away from it. But I started seeing the right and how the right was starting to go against the LGBT, but in a more harmful, a more innocent, the LGBT wasn't really doing anything, and the right started attacking them just for simply existing. And that's where I was like, whoa. I thought you were still cool with us. I thought you were going batshit for the crazy ones, because I would go batshit for the crazy ones too. But no, they were I think my first realization was when Arthur's teacher married a guy from Arthur, if you guys don't know that show. I really started seeing oh, the propaganda, this and that. I'm like, isn't Mr. Burns always been gay? And now he's gay married? Oh my god, it wasn't even a big deal. But I mean, obviously it was a big deal because, we don't really see that a lot. But I was just so annoyed that they were making a big deal over it. And I just started seeing how the right was just making a big deal out of everything. Then I started seeing them be the ones being dramatic for everything and not the left. The left still has its dramatic people, but the right does too. So that's why I'm in the middle, where I see both sides and I see like what I believe in on the left and what I believe in on the right. I believe in gun laws. I believe that we need more evaluations on who can have a gun, especially under 21, because they're out of school. Because these school shootings are insane. Also, the ones who have guns we need better things to keep your guns safe, because your child can take your gun and bring it to school. Also, these white schools need metal detectors. I'm sorry. The suburbs all need metal detectors because those are the school shootings. I live in a crime-ridden state where there's shootings out. Sometimes you hear them literally a block away. There's always police everywhere. We had metal detectors. No. And there's where I used to go to school, there was gangs on both sides, blocks and stuff. Right? You couldn't even wear a certain color walking. Okay? That's how it is, right? No school shooting. No school shooting that I know of. So, the suburbs are usually the schools that get shot up. Y'all need metal detectors. I don't care how safe you think your school is, metal detectors. Because we're at that point where America, you can't even go to school because you're scared that you might die. There's no safe place. So metal detectors, and the only people who are allowed to have guns are security and the police that are also in the school, because we're just at that point where no one is safe. What else? I also believe I believe in pro-choice with women and stuff like that. I believe that it's their body, whatever they think is best, they should do. At one point, I was like, "Oh, poor baby," but then I was like, "Wait," because I didn't know too much about like the fetus stuff, so I was just like, "Oh, baby," because that's what I was taught. But started thinking about it, I was like, no, it's not really a baby yet. It's literally a clump of cells. There's no bones, there's no heart. It's just matter or cells just trying to figure out what it is. So I believe in pro-choice. I believe in abortion. And the reason why I do is because instead of having people like forcing people to give birth to the baby, then putting them in adoption, because a lot of them become orphans and they stay orphans for who knows how long, and they just feel unwanted and stuff. Like the people who are pro-life don't care about the life. They just care about the woman giving birth, because after that, so like whoever, because it's a lot to adopt. I would love to adopt if I feel ready to be a parent, but right now no parent for me. But if I were to have a kid, I would rather adopt. I would not have my own kid. I would rather adopt, because I believe that children that are already born should have a home. And so when I hear we need people to give birth and stuff, I'm like, there are kids asking to be home, asking to have a home. And you're like, it's so crazy. And I see these people who do that, and it's like a lot of them are Republicans that are pro-life, and it's crazy. And I watch a lot of left debates on right, and now I'm starting to see the right isn't as educated as they act like they are, and the left can be. But there's a difference between educated lefts and just lefts that are suppression, or I keep saying suppressions, oppression, this and that, victim. Obviously they're victims of a lot of things, and they're real, and they're very their trauma. But there are people who use the movements of actual victim stuff and use it for themselves in a way to get sympathy or attention, and that's a problem. But you can't use that as your defense as to why not believing these movements and believing these things, because that erases what the real movement is, because you're seeing the facade, you're seeing the fake, you're seeing the people. And that's what I hate, that those people get attention, because those are not the real people. And the people who are actually victims, who are actually this, don't get that. And that's why I lean more towards the left, because I start seeing the more compassionate side, because the right doesn't care about anyone but themselves. A lot of them are like, America first, America this, America that. And I'm like, I get it in a sense, but at the same time, America wants to be this, everyone's accepted, you know? And it's like, America can, like, we're allies to other countries. Why not? Like, there's some things I'm like, why don't we just, like, band together? Because the bigger, the stronger we are against whatever enemies that hate us, hate the shit out of us. Like North Korea, they fucking hate us. And a lot of North Korea people don't want to be there, but they're stuck there, and that sucks. Like, really bad sucks. Like, what's our like biggest fear? I guess Russia, because they're huge and they have like the biggest military or some shit. And I think North Korea, which is weird because North Korea is pretty small that I know of. I don't even know this conversation anymore. I'm just rambling. But the point is that I'm the kind of person who uses facts, who knows the facts, who listens to debates, who kind of like sees both sides and sees the picture. And I noticed that a lot of them simply just, like, they don't leave people alone. Like, the right does not leave people alone. The left doesn't leave people alone too sometimes, but the right goes out of their way to just invalidate people, and it's just like such a like asshole, like a dick move. Like, really? And that was like my whole shtick about like when people were like trans people were like, oh, they're not real women, or they're not real men, the XY chromosomes, biology and stuff like that. And I think that I do have a problem with doctors is that now they're letting anyone transition without any like therapy or anything like that, because I think that's dangerous, because it's a permanent thing, and you wanna know that that kid won't regret it later. And we're at that stage where the LGBT is being romanticized, and that's not what we want. We just literally, all we really want is just to exist. That's it. That's really all we want. To fucking exist without being harassed. But kids are seeing you can be literally anything you want, this and that. And that's cool. You can be anything you want. But there's a difference between being whatever you want and just doing something that might change your entire body. It's like getting a tattoo. You know, that's why 18 is like the youngest you can get a tattoo without a parent. But this is even worse, because you're changing yourself. I think being like obviously evaluated, making sure that this is actually who you are as a person. Because there is a science being trans. Like, there's an actual medical study with like science, and that's why we have these things. But because people want to stay quote unquote woke, they're not doing that anymore. And that's dangerous, because a lot of these kids are like, yeah, I regret this, I shouldn't have done it, this and that, I don't know what's happening. And it's really sad, and it sucks. But you can't use those examples to just bash in the entire community. You can't. And people use it as like I don't know how to explain it in this podcast episode, because there's so much. But I'm gonna just set the record straight. I'm the kind of person who sees a person, tries to understand them. I try to understand where everyone comes from, unless you're spreading hate. If you're spreading hate, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, I already lost all respect once you start spewing out hate, just saying things just to be a complete dick. You don't even try to have a conversation. That, no. But if you're just a person who you like, this is how you express yourself, I'm not gonna invalidate you. You're a person, I'm gonna respect you. I respect everybody unless you give me something to not respect you for. Because I respect everyone because I want to be respected. You know, I treat people the way I want to be treated, and that's always been my thing, was to treat people how you want to be treated. And sometimes that backfires, but I'm gonna still keep doing it because when I die, I don't need the false narrative that I was this complete asshole, this complete dick, whatever, right? I want people to see who I really am because that is who I am. I'm a person who always respects people. I'm a person who always cares about everybody. And it's just like, why can't people do that? Like, what does it take out of you to be a nice person? And that's why I never understood why people just choose to be an ass and choose to like say things and then be like, well, if you took offense, it's your problem. Because why? Like, it takes more energy to be an asshole than it is just to be a decent person. Like, it's not like you have to like be like, oh, how was your day? Like, I'm so interested. Be like, how's your day? Or whatever, you know? It's crazy. And I just see that the people who are those kind of assholes, they're just hurting. Because there's really no point in being that bad. And I'm sorry, but a lot of right wings are like that. Not all of them, because I still listen to a bunch of right wings. And that's how I get most of my information with the left. Because the left likes to hide some of the stuff, but the right exposes it. And I like it because we need to see what to stay away from. But if you are saying it's like saying the entire right is racist. Obviously not the entire right is racist, but there's a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of them, especially at those Trump rallies, because when you go to those Trump rallies, they're just white people. I'm sorry. But you do see it, though. You do see a lot of white people. Because I've seen those, like, memes where, like, the guy will come and be like, hey, is there anyone that isn't white here? And they'll look around and are like, crickets. And I look around, too. I don't see no one else. I just see white people. And it should tell you something, like, if there's only white people. Anyways, but I made a joke the other day about, like, because, you know, I have colored hair and I have tattoos and stuff and I want to get a nose ring. I'm like, I am literally the stereotype of the social justice warriors, because social justice, which I get to an extent, but I think we do need, like, some kind of social justice, because there are still things that are affecting daily lives. For a long time, people were getting drug charges for weed. Like, people getting you get a longer sentence by having weed than you do being a pedophile. You don't think we need social justice for that? You don't think we need a freaking protest, not even protest, like, band together and fight the system? Obviously, we can't fight the complete system because the system is technically stronger than us, because they got the army. But even if we could get the army to go against the government, that would be great. I don't know if I should be saying that. But the point is that we need to figure out how to change things that should, like, obviously, actually, I voted for weed to be legal. So I think I do think we already passed that law, because I do see a lot of, like, smoke shops with THC, so selling THC, CBD, all that stuff. So I do believe we got our weed. So yeah, so I can't be like, well, but I don't know if the people are released from jail because of weed. I had to look into that, but for a while that was a big problem. And honestly, even pedophiles they're getting low sentences, but people who have smaller crimes are getting these 20 to like 30-year prison sentences. Well, pedophiles get like 2 years, 3 years sometimes, maybe 10 the most. And it's insane. And the left is fighting against that. The left is saying, no, and like people who rape, those things, we need to fight for that. And a lot of like quote unquote social justice warriors fight for that. Like, it's not just we hate men, this, like, no. But I get where you're coming from, because men can be assholes and can abuse women, and a lot of the time men do abuse women. And if you use the excuse, well, women can abuse men, obviously, yeah, we're talking about that, but there is a huge majority of men beating women. And the fact that you only bring up women beating men when we talk about men beating women is because you want to invalidate women and talk about yourselves and be like, we're victims, we don't see us. Like, no. If you want to talk about men getting abused by women, talk about it, because you actually believe in it, right? If you believe in it, you would talk about it. But if you only ever bring it up when it's about women, there's a problem. But yeah, I don't even know what the fuck this episode is. I'm sorry. I'm just happy to be back, and so I'm just like rambling. I hope you guys liked it, this episode. This freaking sleeve has been bothering me. It keeps like lifting up. If you guys didn't know, my shirt, like my sleeve was lifting up, and it was kind of getting annoying. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, thank you. If you didn't, thank you for listening anyway. But next time, if I do talk about politics again, next time I'm going to write down a list, because I probably just went back and forth and I probably didn't even make my point. But at this point, as you guys can know, I'm more left leaning than right at all. But there are some right things I still believe in, because they just make sense. And I think most people will agree with it. Most. Not a lot, but most, I think, will. But because it's in the stigma of right equals racist, people would rather just be left. And I don't think anyone should be one way or another. I think everybody should stay neutral. And when it comes to like voting, vote for the policies you believe in. Don't vote if because you are a Republican you vote all the time Republican. Vote what you think what they're fighting for and all that stuff. That's how I did it. I voted because I liked the policies, even though our President Biden is not doing everything he's saying he was gonna do. I same thing with Trump. Like, he said about, remember his huge thing he wanted to do was build a wall. Did the wall ever get built? I don't think the wall ever got built. And that was like, build a wall. That was literally his like go-to thing, I think. I don't remember anymore, because this shit was like a long time ago. But I have my own issues with Trump. I'm not gonna get into it. But I have my own issues with freaking Biden too. I don't like Biden either. And that's just other things, like the right believes that we're gonna ass kiss Biden. I'm like, we're not used. Like, you guys ass kiss Trump. Like, y'all were like, bring him back 2024. Yeah, that's my president. I'm like, really? And the whole storming the Capitol. I'm like, the right is a fucking cult. You guys praise this man so fucking much, and it's like sad. And that's another reason I was like, fuck the right, because they wear the fucking merch. They wear his merch. They literally walk around with the freaking flag as their cape, and then they storm the fucking Capitol over it because he lost. Are you kidding me? And to say that you guys are not a cult? Like, you guys literally have him on flags like he's like our, like, what? What? Like, do you see the left doing that? The left wasn't doing that. The left don't care. Half the left don't even like him. I don't like him. If we do the votes again and we get a better one, I'm not voting for Biden again. I'm not voting for Trump either. I won't even vote. If it's just those two and the last thing, I'm not voting. Because I ain't voting for him and I ain't voting for Trump. I wanted to vote because I finally got to vote, because I couldn't vote when I was 18 because we were still we were still with a president, so I couldn't vote. But I wanted to vote, so I voted for Biden, even though I thought some of his not even policies, some of his like whatever was stupid too. But Jesus, the two of them are children, and it's just like a lot. And so politics are a mess. I try to stay out of politics for the most part. I usually just go for like human rights. Like, that's normally the politics I stick behind, is just like human rights stuff. But that's about it, because I do believe in human rights and animal rights, but also I'm not a vegan. Let me get that straight. I'm not a vegan. I would like to be vegan though, but I just like meat too much. I'm sorry, and I know that's what like a lot of people who say they want to be vegan say, but I've tried vegan everything, or not everything, but I tried a lot of vegan things, because I do try to like balance and eat things that are vegan if I can. Because I'm gonna just say this: being vegan is expensive as fuck, and that's why I can't do it. Because they're like, "Oh, why don't you be vegan?" I'm like, like getting fruits, vegetables, things like that. They're more expensive than just buying cheap meat or going to McDonald's. Like, it's insane. Like, you would hope that the foods are cheaper because more people be healthy, but no, and that's why they like to keep people fat. It's because I don't even know what the excuse is. I'm trying to make an excuse for it, but I don't even know what the fuck excuse is. But the point is that America likes to have fast food and stuff like that, and I'm like, fast food is cool, but we should try to be more healthier. But we should try to lower those prices, because a lot of people can't afford them. And the thing is, though, and I'm going through another tangent, but basically, our economy goes high. Like, our economy, like, the thing is that bills get higher, food prices and everything else gets higher, right? But the wages stay the fuck the same. They don't get higher with it. Meaning, it's gonna get to a point where people who work those jobs can't afford food or anything else. And you can say, oh, they can just look for another job. A lot of these jobs pay the exact same. You can keep trying to quote unquote move up, but they all pay the exact same. The only way to like get a better job is to go to school. But then you're gonna be in debt. Then you gotta pay the debt and work. And it's still not enough, because you're still having to pay your school, which takes years to finish. Plus you gotta pay for rent and all that jazz. And that shit's high. There's gonna be a point where you can't even live in the US. And that's because money keeps going high, and everything, paying the worker that's actually making your business rise gets put down. And you can say, oh, make your own business. You can make your own business, but how is anyone going to be able to afford what you're selling? And if everybody made their own business, then you're not going to have employees. Or like, you're going to have so much competition where no one's going to care for your things. You know what I mean? So it's a whole thing. And I do believe we need to raise the minimum wage. We need to, and don't get me started on small businesses, because they should be getting more money too, and also being able to pay their employees. I think there's a whole thing. I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure someone else can like explain it better than I can, but this is a whole thing. Maybe I'll get someone on the podcast and we could talk about it. But yeah. I hope you guys liked this episode. This episode was all random. I'm sorry. But I really wanted to talk about this kind of stuff, and maybe I'll talk about it in another podcast episode, but with probably better points and stuff like that. So sorry. I just wanted to get this out of the way. I don't know. I have ideas for the next episode. I might get drunk next episode, because I've been promising getting drunk for like, I don't even know how long, for months. I've been wanting to do a drinking episode, so I'm gonna do it. That's my next one, guys. You guys are gonna see me shit-faced drunk, because I'm gonna try to get blacked out drunk. Alright, watch that one be the longest one, because I'm just so fucked up. But yeah, and that one will make less sense than this one. Just telling you that now. I just know it. Alright, bye guys. I'll see you guys in another episode, and Kazuntai.